Hello, I'm Michael McWhertor from Polygon, and we are at PAX. We are in the Indie Megabooth, and right now we are with John Chey, and we are looking at Card Hunter, which is easily the best game I've played this morning. But
thank you very much.
It is, yeah. So it's really it's kind of a role-playing game slash card-based
hybrid
deck building. Yeah. So can you just kind of give us a little brief overview of Card Hunter?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
So like you said, it's a kind of a hybrid, a mishmash, kind of a whole bunch of things squashed together. One of those things is collectible card game. One of those things is role-playing game. It's also got a little bit of a board game feel to it. So I think in terms of role-playing games, it's a nostalgic look back at kind of early RPGs, which were very tactically based. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons grew out of a set of miniatures rules, and that's the aspect that we're mostly focused on. So the core idea of the game was to create a collectible card game where you can grow your collection of cards by finding stuff in the game and playing through an extensive single-player campaign. And that was a good fit with Dungeons and Dragons kind of fantasy adventure idea, basically.
So yeah, one of the aspects that I really like is that it is kind of a loot-based game, and that you're finding things as you play through the single-player campaign. And what's interesting, I thought, is that all of your cards are associated with equipment,
with items,
armor, items, weapons.
So it's very much a kind of a paper doll kind of character system where you have some slots. You find some weapons, magic items, and you equip them onto your characters. And one of our key ideas was that that's how you would actually create your deck of cards. So one of our kind of mantras for the game is the character is a deck. Yeah. So every character is nothing more, nothing less than a deck of cards. There are no inherent abilities. There's nothing else you do in the game other than play cards. And we took that idea and kind of pushed it into the way you build your character as well. So you build your character by still equipping things, but all that's doing is rearranging the decks, the cards in their deck.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found most interesting about it as somebody who doesn't really play a lot of card-based games, is that it felt more like I was just managing items and equipment with associated attributes.
Kind of easier to get your head around.
Yeah, and that's what I think people who might be a little bit shy about playing, jumping into a deep, complex card-based game.
I hope so, because I really like card games.
Yeah.
And but I also recognize there's a real kind of hurdle to get over there, to get into a card game.
Yeah.
Because you have to know an awful lot before you start building a deck. And in our game, you don't really have to know anything about card games. You can just start by saying, that's a pretty cool sword, I think I'll equip that. Yeah. And that'll build a deck for you. But then over time, there's a lot of optimizations and kind of tweaks that you can make. So I guess, that thing of, it's simple, but it has a lot of depth to it as well.
So you've got an extensive single-player campaign built into it, but then you've also got some multiplayer built into it. So can you talk a little bit about what that's going to be like? Yeah,
so the single-player is designed to kind of be self-contained. It's a long campaign where you grow your characters, and there's a story which is about playing a fantasy role-playing game, about playing a tabletop RPG adventure.
Yeah.
And as you work your way through that campaign, your characters will grow, you collect more items, because in our game you win the items and then the cards by beating the battles. And then, at any stage during that, you can jump in and play multiplayer and use the stuff that you found in the single-player game. And that's something we were really keen on, is that you wouldn't have to say, I want to play multiplayer. Let me see if I got enough money to buy, 50 boosters and find the cards that I need to be competitive. We wanted you to be able to say, I need to get some more stuff, so let me go play the single-player game and find some loot, and use that loot to play multiplayer. So multiplayer is probably where, if you stick with the game in the long term, you'll end up. But single-player is certainly something that is much more accessible, and many people, I guess, will probably only really want to play the single player because multiplayer obviously a bit confrontational, requires a pretty high skill level to be competitive.
Yes. Okay, so it's I know it's browser based.
Yeah.
And you're going to be releasing sometime this year, you hope?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think we're targeting this year.
Okay.
But we've every deadline we've set for ourselves, we've missed. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Good to know.
That's our main skill is missing deadlines.
Oh, okay, great. But browser-based, any plans to put it on any other platform, anything else?
We really want to be on tablets.
Okay.
I think the game is a little too detailed, probably, for a phone. We might look at it, but we'd really love to be on tablets because I think it's a great tablet. I think card games are really great on tablets.
Yeah.
I think it'll translate pretty well. Right now it's a Flash game, so we're going to have to do some work. But
okay. And do you have a beta happening anytime soon?
We have a beta coming up soon with some deadline that we're going to miss, but we're taking sign-ups here at PAX.
Yeah, okay.
So we want to launch. We want to get into a beta soon.
Okay, so where can people go to find out a little bit more about
cardhunter.com
is
where everything's at. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.